Hi there, welcome back. It hasn't been long, but welcome back to our live stream coverage of Produced by 2014 at Warner Brothers. I am happy to be joined by Bryan Fuller, one of our guests, showrunner of Hannibal. Is that
yes?
Well,
Yes.
it's a pleasure to have you here. Now you're appearing as part of a panel called Adrenaline Rush about like
Right.
sort of action, excitement, sort of adrenaline pumping TV.
Right. Yes.
Now it's only recently that we've come to associate TV with like pumping adrenaline. TV is, I think, generally thought of as the more staid, more domestic, more sort of low key of the major media, but folks like you were changing that.
Oh, I think it's been in the works to change for quite a while. I mean, Starsky and Hutch was pretty adrenaline pumping,
Fair to
and,
say,
and
yes.
I think right now what is happening is because there is so much content on television with a variety of networks that we are allowed as creatives to explore new avenues. So that's the fun of it, is that what has been going on for decades in television, we get to put orange cones up and find new avenues around that, and it's very exciting.
So talk a little bit about the panel, of your fellow panelists, the questions from the audience. What was the experience like of being on stage with your fellow producers and talking about this stuff?
It was wonderful. I am a fan of Walking Dead, and so we were up there with Dave Alpert, who produces that, and I was using it as a venue to get Walking Dead merchandise. So that was one of my main goals.
Well,
and then
the conference is a success. Then, all right, well done. We can break. No,
Get me
okay.
action
Okay.
figures. And also gentlemen from Homeland and
Right.
True Detective. So it was an honor to be up there with pioneers at this stage of television, and everyone up there is trying to do something different and inventive, and the audience was as excited about that as we are about our shows. So it was wonderful to be a part of that.
What were some of the questions you got asked by the crowd there?
It was interesting to juxtapose cable, because with network, because I was the only one up there from a network show that actually has a lot of cable content,
Right.
and what is fascinating about working with NBC on this project is that they were looking at Hannibal as a cable model show that they wanted on network, so they could compete with what was happening in cable. So it was
It's a real shoe on the other foot, isn't it? I mean, time was that cable wanted to, ape what network was doing, and
Right.
now that's a fascinating reversal.
It's wonderful, and it shows that there is an appetite for different types of television shows, and not necessarily constricting things to shows about doctors and lawyers and police officers, which will always have a place on network television. But it is fascinating to see how eager they are to move above and beyond archetypes that have been thoroughly explored, and reinventing those archetypes at the same time as bringing in concepts that you don't normally see.
Well, that is so encouraging to hear. I gotta say, that's great to hear. Talk just a little bit about the show, about Hannibal. What a challenge it is to take this iconic character and surround him with a new milieu and something that people where you don't need to have been a Silence of the Lambs fan to enjoy Hannibal and to get the pleasure out of it. How did you approach that of putting this iconic character in a new venue?
I approached it as a fan. I was a big fan of the literature. I love Thomas Harris's writing and the purple prose that he fills those pages with, and to be able to take that character who's been very well explored in cinema and find a new venue on television, which is essentially exploring a chapter of his life that we hadn't seen before as a practicing psychiatrist in the world amongst us, and how insidious that can be and terrifying it can be. So it was exciting to tell a different chapter of this character's life.
Now, the show is known for not pulling any punches in terms of its graphic content. Probably it's at about the far edge of what network will allow you to do.
I think we're over the edge in many respects, and a part of that was we had a conversation very early on with Jennifer Salke, who's the head of entertainment at NBC, and she made us a promise that she would allow us to do a cable model show on her network and would give us a wide berth with standards and practices, and she kept her promise. So we are.
Wait, a network kept its promise?
Yeah, Jennifer Selke kept her promise.
Alert the presses.
And she has allowed us to do things on network television that I certainly haven't seen before, and I'm thrilled at our relationship with standards and practices, because it is, it's usually a department that is oft vilified for its restrictions, but we have such a cooperative relationships that I will, if something gruesome is coming up, for instance, we had an episode where a gentleman carved off his face and fed it to dogs, and so
my dad did that.
Yeah, it's a certain amount of and so we gave them a call and said, this is what we would like to do. How can we do that on your network? And we got bits of advice like, turn the color of the blood down so it's not bright, and then you'll get to show more of it, and in implying things as opposed to showing them, and the parameters were so helpful that we get away with quite a bit, and they're completely supportive of it, and it's a wonderful, shocking, fresh relationship to have with the network, given the subject matter.
Yeah, what a nice model to have, the place where standards and practices is in your corner and you're working together rather than working at cross purposes.
Yeah, we're a team.
All right. Well, congratulations on having such a great show, having a hit show that's going to be coming back, and we're looking forward to next season. And for joining us here at the conference. This is your first time here.
This is my first time at the conference, and it was a ball. I'm having a great time.
All right. Well, I hope we get you back sometime soon, and thanks so much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice to meet you.
Pleasure.